from the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Coming up today on AgDay.
I'm Charles Denny. Art, insects, and ag research. You can find it all here at the University of Tennessee Gardens. And we'll show you some of the creative endeavors mixed in with the plants. That story coming up on AgDay.
And team coverage as a new day brings more hopeful signs of ending the trade war between the U.S. and China and possible purchases of U.S. ag product. And USDA releases the details it hopes will help mitigate the pain to producers caused by the trade tiff.
AgDay, presented by the all-new Chevy Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever.
Good morning, I'm Tricia Sloma, in for Clinton Griffiths. Details are finally released regarding the next round of China trade aid for producers. Here are the highlights of the $16 billion package. Non-specialty crops such as corn, cotton, soybeans, and wheat will be based on a single county rate. Those rates range from $15 up to $150 per acre. Dairy producers will receive a 20 cents per hundredweight payment, hog producers an $11 per head payment. Producers with prevented planting claims qualify for a $15 per acre payment. The payments will be made in 3 waves. The first will be comprised of the higher of either 50% of a producer's calculated payments or $15 per acre. Those first payments will go out mid to late August, with additional payments if necessary in November and early January. To sign up, producers need to go to their local farm service agency. Sign up starts Monday. Farm Journal's Tyne Morgan joins us now from our studios in Kansas City. Tyne, you're finding those payments for non-specialty crops vary quite a bit from county to county.
Yeah, thanks, Tricia. This was a highly anticipated week. Last year, MFP was divided out by crop. This year, it's divided out by county. Some producers will see a larger payment than expected, and it's all based on the county in which you reside. Now, payments ranging from $15 to $150 per acre. And the biggest payments, Tricia, coming to the southern tier of states. Take a look at Alabama. 5 counties in Alabama alone will see the highest payment of $150 per acre, and 22 counties will receive more than $100 per acre. But it really varies widely per county. Check out Illinois here. McLean County, Illinois will receive $82 per acre, and then Clinton County, Illinois, which is close to McLean County, $61 per acre payment. And then you have MFP 2.0 in North Dakota, a state that was really hit the hardest by the trade war, as largely it produces soybeans, and we saw the impact it had on North Dakota last year. Well, this year, MFP 2.0 payments from USDA, Grand Forks County will get $44 per acre, Nelson County, $38 per acre. So as you can see, it really varies widely by county, and you can check it out on USDA's website. We have that website listed on our screen to see what you will receive in 2019. Tricia?
Thanks, Tyne. Here's another look at the website where you can go to find out those county by county rates. We've linked it to you. Just go to agday.com and scroll down to news links. As for trade negotiations with China, a government spokesman says Chinese companies have expressed a willingness to import U.S. farm goods. The Chinese Ministry of Commerce spokesman confirming U.S. and Chinese officials will meet in Shanghai on Tuesday. It will be the first face-to-face talks since Presidents Trump and Xi Jinping agreed in June to resume negotiations. The spokesman says Chinese importers will negotiate with U.S. suppliers of farm goods. But he said the purchases aren't connected to next week's talks. And new weekly ag sales numbers from USDA confirm those big China buys that have been talked about haven't happened yet. There's a possibility the country purchased some wheat. Net sales of 659,000 metric tons were up 90% from the previous week. Increases were reported for Japan and unknown destinations, and sales of hides and skins were up 54% from the previous week, with whole cattle hide sales totaling 338,000 pieces, China making the largest buy. Legislators getting an update this week on hemp production and the 2018 Farm Bill. The hearing designed to provide agencies and stakeholders a forum to talk about the benefits and challenges of growing hemp in the U.S. For instance, right now there are no federally labeled pesticides herbicides, insecticides, or fungicides for industrial hemp, a top concern for the industry.
Since May 2019, EPA has received 10 requests to include hemp on existing pesticide labels. We already have an approach for reviewing these requests and are engaging the public in our process.
The EPA says those pending requests contain biological and microbial chemicals, which they say have a very low environmental impact and could be approved quickly. Several sunny days helping to finally get things growing. Meteorologist Mike Hoffman has something you'll want to see in today's crop comments.
Thanks, Tricia. The sunshine, a welcome sight for many farmers these days, like Doug Satoff, Adams County, Nebraska. Just look at this spectacular sunrise over his bean crop just a few days ago. That is about as pretty as it gets. I'll have more in your forecast coming up in just a little while.
Dunkin' will soon be selling a meatless breakfast sandwich. It's a vegan sausage breakfast sandwich made by Beyond Meat. It will first be sold at its Manhattan locations and then possibly nationwide. It retails for $4.29. How much of a factor did a second round of trade aid play in planting decisions? We get some insight coming up. And later, a garden that is about more than beauty in the country.
Closed captioning is brought to you by BASF. Grow smart with BASF. We create chemistry.
Caterpillar is reporting weak profits and revenue for the second quarter with earnings of $1.62 billion. It equals $2.83 a share. The performance short of what Wall Street was expecting. The dependence of Caterpillar's customers on heavy equipment and machinery makes the company vulnerable to the volatility of the energy sector. In the past 3 months, crude prices have fallen nearly 14%, while natural gas is down more than 10%. Commodity prices fell on Thursday on those sluggish weekly USDA export numbers we told you about. Here's an update from CME.
This is Oliver Slope with Blue Line Futures coming to you from the floor of the CME here in Chicago with your grain market update. And we are seeing the grains retreat a little bit, and a lot of the bears kind of excited, saying the sky is falling, the sky is falling. But a reminder to you, this December corn contract trading around 430 has traded and printed 430 for 6 consecutive sessions. So we've gone nowhere fast as the market continues to wait for new news to give us that technical breakout or breakdown. From the technical standpoint, I still think there's really good support down from 418 to 420. This represents a gap from May 28th as well as the key Fibonacci retracement level. So long as we can hold that, I think we could potentially see a little bit of a bounce. Wheat has been trending higher. We had great exports out this morning, but I think these rallies will continue to get sold. And so I looked for these prices to kind of fold a little bit and see that pressure come back into the market. $5 for that September wheat Chicago contract, psychologically significant. If we break that back down below here, wouldn't be surprised to see the selling accelerate a little bit. So that's what we're looking at into the weekend. That's what you should be looking at too. It's been Oliver Slope with Blue Line Futures from the floor of the CME.
USDA officials say they delayed releasing information about the second round of trade aid because they didn't want it to impact acreage. But did it end up doing just that? Tyne Morgan joins us again from our Kansas City studios with today's analysis.
Thanks so much, Tricia. Yeah, here with Dwayne Bussey of Bolt Marketing, and we know some details surrounding MFP 2.0 and what this next round of payments will be. But the initial announcement that we would see another round of MFP, that we would see a repeat of something in 2019, do you think that impacted acreage this year, Dwayne?
Oh, absolutely, because the rumors came out when we were still planting, right? And the year prior, it was all about production, and corn barely got any payment. Soybeans got a huge payment, like I said, based on production. When we started hearing rumors of MFP 2.0, if you would call it this year, we figured out that it was based on acres. So acres planted, I should say. So we pushed to plant acres, and maybe we planted some acres we shouldn't have and mudded things in a little bit, and that'll be another issue with the variable yield coming up. What it did in my area, and I think throughout the country actually, because the price of corn had rallied $1 already, we figured out with this MFP that you're going to get paid the same for a planted acre of corn or a planted acre of soybeans, even though the tariff really hurt soybeans a lot more. So we went out and we pushed and planted a lot more corn because we have the upside in the price and we got the same MFP payment.
Which you think adds to this 91 million acres of corn that USDA says we have?
It added to the intended, what we tried to plant anyway. What the final acres will be, I have no clue.
So now that we know that these payments are based, it's really a per county level, Should this have any influence on your marketing decisions, knowing where prices are today?
No, it shouldn't. I think it affected how you planted this spring, like we just covered. But as far as like what you do with your marketing right now, it shouldn't. We really instruct people to take these MFPs as just what they are. It's just a bonus to help you maybe get back to break even or a little bit bonus up on top. But it should not adjust markets moving forward.
Yeah, and this year, in years past, we've had better than expected yields that have helped improve the farm financial state on a lot of individual producers. Right. This year, though, that doesn't seem like it could be the case.
It might not. We might not. We're going to have some farms have a great year and other farms really struggle, and that's sad. But hopefully, these payments help.
Hope so. Dwayne Bussey, Bolt Marketing, thank you so much. Stay with us. We'll have much more Ag Day when we come back.
For marketing advice, call Bolt Marketing, a futures and options brokerage firm. The IBM Watson Decision Platform for Agriculture, helping to feed a hungry world with the power of AI.
Great weather settling into the middle of the country. Mike Hoffman joins us now. Mike, I could get used to this.
I think we all could, yeah. What an amazing difference from a week ago. Just with all the heat that was here, it's all gone now. And you can see on the wind speed forecast a little bit as we start the day today. That's because of a weak cool front that's kind of moving through the middle of the country. So it'll be a little bit breezy in the upper Midwest, western Great Lakes, and in spots out west, as you can see later today. Heading into the day tomorrow, then not a whole lot to start the day, but from the Great Lakes into the Central Plains, it'll become a little bit breezy as we head through the afternoon, and also northern Montana, as you can see there. The drought monitor just not showing too much. Despite the dry weather we've had over the past couple of weeks overall, we haven't seen a big change in the drought monitor. That was 4 weeks ago. Moving week by week since then, you can see just not a lot of changes at all. Southeast, southwest, northwest, those are the areas where we do have at least some dryness, and we are starting to see a little bit more showing up in Texas, especially South Texas. High pressure dominating from Texas all the way to the northeast and the Great Lakes. Stationary front in the Gulf Coast area, Florida especially, going to see some scattered showers and thunderstorms. But I mean, just look at the dry areas for most of the eastern 2/3 of the country. This storm system will be producing some afternoon showers and thunderstorms as it moves east. By tomorrow morning, not a whole lot going on. As you can see, maybe some scattered activity in the northern Great Lakes. And then heading through the afternoon hours tomorrow as we start the weekend, spotty showers and thunderstorms along this cool front from Iowa all the way into Michigan. A little bit more activity there in Wyoming, Colorado, and southward. And still we have the stationary front in the southeast. So precipitation estimates over the past 24 hours, mostly in Florida. Adding in the next 36, we'll add some in spots across the upper Midwest and the West, and a little bit more in Florida. But a lot of the area just staying dry and warm, but not nearly as hot as last week, like I pointed out. Lows tomorrow morning, though. We are starting to see some upper 60s, lower 70s all the way up into the southwestern Great Lakes. Still, these are mainly 80s rather than 90s like we were seeing last week. And here's the jet stream. You can see that quick little trough moves through over the weekend. The Great Lakes, a more intense trough looks like digs in as we head into next week. So turns cool again, Great Lakes in the northeast, but the heat remains in the plains. That's a look across the country. Now let's take a look at some local forecasts. Heading to Pecos, Texas, mostly sunny and hot today. High temperature of 97. Terre Haute, Indiana, lots of sunshine and pleasant, high of 84. And finally, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, partly to mostly sunny and nice afternoon, high 79.
The wet spring left many farmers playing catch up. We take a tour of just one state to see how the corn crop is coming along next.
Machinery Pete's having a huge summer unreserved online dealer auction in conjunction with Big Iron. Items are open for bidding now and close August 1st. Go to machinerypete.com/auction. Unreserved, lien-free, no buyer fees. Start bidding now.
With all the rain and delays in planting this year, producers are finding the corn is well behind normal. We get a look at the situation right now in Kansas from a Kansas State agronomy specialist.
I think that is going all the way from northwest, which is what we are seeing is still delayed in terms of, development. So most of the crop in that area is kind of not even close to vegetative. So some of the most advanced corns you might see in some tassels. But most of the corn in the northwest section is more, I would say, B10. In some places, we are a little bit even behind, but B10, B14, so 14 leaves. and then from 14 leaves to silking and to flowering. So we probably, depending on the number of leaves, we might have probably 2 weeks in some cases. In some cases, could be only one. So I would say that most of the pollination will be, and flowering will be placed in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I think that will be concentrated between mid-July all the way to the first week of August. And then we have very narrow variation between day and night temperature. So those are kind of a high temperature was speeding up tasseling. So you have pollen that is coming before silks are ready. And the second point is most of this pollen is basically only viable for really short time because of the temperature. Even in situations like those silks might be out and receptive to pollen, those silks are 90% of that, 99% of that silk is just water. Longer silks basically are telling you that at some point the pollen got shed. I mean, the pollen got out, and those silks basically they never really fully received the pollen. They never got basically they never germinate that pollen in the silks and never really produce kernels. And then when you open up those ears, you will find basically lack of kernels. I would say in the next 10 days, we are in the peak of water consumption in corn. So, and then in the next 10 days are really critical. Most optimistic side is to look at the difference between day and night temperature. So we will be probably going to 60s in some places in night temperature, and I think that will be very ideal for an optimal pollination in corn.
Combining science and creativity all in one place. Why this is so much more than just a garden. Next.
Closed captioning is brought to you by BASF. Grow smart with BASF. We create chemistry.
The University of Tennessee Gardens in Knoxville offers a combination of beautiful plant life, agricultural research, and artwork. Charles Denny takes us on a tour.
There's no reason creativity should clash with science. In fact, the two blend nicely. The UT Gardens features butterflies, real ones here and there, but also wooden paintings, a display called Wings of Wonder. Brought to life by 25 talented people, from school children to professional artists, the butterflies are mounted in such a way that they seem to float and flutter in the wind. Sarah Brobst created this piece she titled Radiant Being.
Yeah, so it started out with more like a graffiti feel, and then it morphed from there and definitely went in this very mosaic-y looking, dot painting that it turned into. And it's not how it started, but it definitely came together really nicely with all the different colors incorporated, I feel like.
We have different artists from around the Knoxville area. They're all given about a 2-foot by 2-foot butterfly silhouette made of marine grade plywood so it can stay outside. And then they're asked to embellish it in any way that they feel they want to express.
Before the wooden butterflies were displayed, volunteers coated them with protective seals against the elements, cementing the bright colors. Then the butterflies were installed in the gardens and opened to the public with this fun reception. Wings of Wonder highlights the need to protect pollinators.
Horticulture is really the science and art of growing plants.
The gardens are part of the plant science department here at the UT Institute of Agriculture, an experiment that started more than 35 years ago with just a few plants, and today the number totals more than 6,000. There's also research here regarding animal and insect life. In fact, if you're an insect, feel free to check into the garden's Insect Motel. It really comes to life when the sun sets. Here's a description of the motel from the human who designed it.
Large-scale sculptures that are embedded with ultraviolet lights that then glow to attract insects. The insects come, they meet more insects, and they make more insects, and I invite people to watch.
Brandon Belangi with the LSU Museum of Natural Science visited the UT Ag campus recently to talk to people and install the motel. He's both an artist and a biologist.
Not just as artists or scientists, but just as human beings. We're both scientific and we're artistic. We respond to the world around us and each other and other species and the environment analytically, but we also do this poetically and emotionally.
Belangi says combining science with public art is as natural as the plants and bugs who live here. It's a sight to see what the gardens have to offer these days. Exhibits that draw attention to the beauty that man creates and the beauty that nature creates. This is Charles Denny reporting.
That's all the time we have for this morning. We're so glad you tuned in. For all of us here at Ag Day, I'm Tricia Sloma. Have a great day.